Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, click that subscribe button down below to connect with hot MILFs in your area. After another long 2-week break, we're gonna pick back up right where we left off with chapter 114 of Chainsaw Man. And boy did it feel like simultaneously both a lot of stuff and nothing happened this week. But we need these scene-setting chapters so next week can be even crazier. Chapter 114 walked, so chapter 115 could potentially run. But we still have a lot to talk about this week, like Shiesty Haruka Isaumi, Yoshida's stalking problem, Swagless Asa, and meeting Kobeni's little brother. But first, class is once again in session. I've linked the poll at the top of the description down below where you guys can vote on what grade you think this chapter of Chainsaw Man should get. A, B, C, D, or F. And at the beginning of next week's chapter review video, we'll go over the overall chapter GPA of this chapter, as well as some of your guys' comments on this video down below. Speaking of which, let's just look at your guys' thoughts on chapter 113. About 317 people voted. If that's one of you guys, thank you so much for your participation. And after crunching the numbers, we get a chapter GPA of 3.84. The number feels oddly familiar. I don't know if last week's was 3.84. I doubt that. It looks kind of different. But 3.84 is the number. This week's chapter voting thread is already live. We have 55 votes already, and it's only been up for an hour. So remember to cast your vote now with that link down below. But now let's look at some of your guys' comments on last week's video. Ms. says, I don't know if I'm more disappointed in Asa for fumbling the easiest bag or proud of Denji for doing what he wants. You know what? I kind of want to reframe this one. I'm proud of Denji for doing what he wants, but I'm also proud of Asa's incredibly impressive Sigma display of being the absolute rizzless, no bitches motherfucker on the planet. So I think we can be proud of both of our fantastic protagonists this week. Now the next comment I wanted to look at is actually kind of a nutty one. I think some of you guys might have already seen something about this, but it's by Coffin. Reze's song was about a date with Jane in the aquarium about wanting to see penguins. The name Jane in Hebrew means God's grace. The name Asa in Hebrew means healing. In Japanese it means morning. Asa in Jesus Christ. Asa in Japanese means born at dawn. Basically, the Reze song, the song Reze sang prophesies Denji and Asa will be his healing. So I've seen a lot of comments online, maybe like Twitter. Follow me on Twitter, by the way. Link down below. About Reze's song referencing going to the aquarium on a date and seeing penguins. But this comment is the first one I've seen that goes so in depth, that goes through like the meanings of the names in Hebrew and Japanese. I'm certain at first glance someone could see this comment and maybe reference the one shot, just listen to the song. But at the same time, I actually feel like, you know, this is a pretty crazy coincidence to just be a coincidence. And it seems like Fujimoto does use other languages and cultures as inspiration in his work, like Reze speaking Russian, and potentially Asa and Jane being important names in Hebrew. So I thought Coffin's comment was nuts, and I wanted to share it with all of you guys. It could easily be a video on its own, but I got sick last week, and so sorry, Coffin. You were about to get your own video. Thank you guys so much for your comments on that video. You guys commented a lot on the past few videos, and I really appreciate it. I wish I could talk to each and every one of you in the comments. Last week I was a little sipping that depresso espresso, so, you know, maybe this week I'll be a little better about that, but I want to talk to all of you guys. Remember to leave your comments on this video as well, and maybe we'll talk about it in next week's video. And while you're down in the description checking out that voting link, or maybe leaving a comment on this video, don't forget to leave a subscribe on my channel. You know, I make a lot of Chainsaw Man related content. I actually genuinely can't stop. Seriously, I make so many videos about this series. Subscribe, please. I kind of want to talk about Bocchi the Rock or something at some point. I'm fucking loving that anime. Okay, whatever. Let's finally talk about the chapter. So today's chapter starts off with Asa once again verbally berating Denji for genuinely accurately trying to describe the situation. What do you know? You're not even a devil hunter. I'm in the Devil Hunters Club, so that means I know more than you. Jesus, still a little sick. She literally whipped out the my dad knows more than your dad because my dad is older than your dad argument. Needless to say, it was an incredibly swagless display. But before Denji even has time to explain himself, we see the return of the shiestiest man on the planet, Haruka Isaumi, or Fake Saw Man himself. But it's not just him, it's the entirety of the Devil Hunting Club squad. Sans Giga-chan, obviously. And that's not the end of it. Wouldn't you know, Yoshida just happened to be in the area and he wanted to look at some fish, so he's there too. But this actually kind of confirms something interesting about Yoshida. The Eye Patch Devil Hunter Club guy said to Haruka Isayumi that Yoshida is that one high schooler who went from being a civilian devil hunter to a public safety devil hunter, all while still being, you know, a teenager. So this now confirms that Yoshida is part of public safety, and whoever has Yoshida following Denji probably is part of the government, at least in some way, shape, or form. It could be Kishibe, who just wants Yoshida following him so Denji doesn't fuck anything up, or it could potentially be something more sinister. You know, the same government that contracted Makima to keep the peace. Either way, I find it incredibly funny that Yoshida went as far as to stalk Denji on his date with Asa. I hope he liked the fish facts. I wouldn't be surprised if he's both trying to keep Denji in check, but also trying to, you know, prod more about Asa's situation. I don't believe that he's dumb enough to suspect nothing from Asa's, like, really suspicious behavior and the fact that, you know, she had scars appear on her face when she switched with Yoru. Also, so far, all of this information I gathered was from the first 3 pages of this chapter alone. So, buckle the fuck in, guys. It's gonna be an analytical one. So, Haruka Isayumi keeps trying to introduce himself like a douchebag, and he keeps getting interrupted time and time again. First by Yoshida, and secondly by an unfamiliarly familiar face. A young man bearing a striking resemblance to our beloved Kobeni outbursts about how they're all gonna die, they're trapped in here. He never wanted to be a devil hunter, his mom just made him so he could get a scholarship. And boy, that just warmed the fuck out of my heart. I saw a lot of people talking on Twitter about how this Kobeni lookalike popped up out of nowhere and they have no clue who he is or who he could be. He's just a cheap copy of Kobeni. But Kobeni literally said in part 1 that she has 9 siblings and that her mom made her work as a devil hunter or a sex worker so that she could put her gifted younger brother through college. This is just Kobeni's younger brother. I don't know which one. He's probably not the gifted one, because his mom wouldn't dare put the gifted one in harm's way. So we're just gonna refer to him as Higashiyama going forward, because that's literally just his surname. It's funny how much this second attack of the Eternity Devil resembles the first attack in part 1. We have a blubbering crybaby, a common collected person with an eye patch, and a kind of like a Fred Jones type leading the squad throughout the entirety of the mission. Though funny enough, I feel like Denji is supposed to be a parallel to Power in this situation, and Asa is supposed to be Denji. I guess that makes Yoshida Hirokazu Arai, but, like, a more likable Hirokazu Arai. It's also funny to me that Denji could just go full chainsaw mode and get them out of this situation pretty quickly, but because Yoshida's there, he has to act like he knows nothing. That, or he has to act independently of the group, which I think he's probably doing anyway. So Haruka and the gang find a staff lounge that's stocked up with fresh drinking water, and if they keep going lounge to lounge in this Eternity Devil trap, they'll have infinite drinking water forever. Eye Patch and Yoshida find a room connected to the aquarium tanks, and it's filled with infinite fish, if they just keep going room to room. So essentially, they have infinite food. And no, I won't count this as a victory for my prediction in my last chapter review. In order for my prophecy to come true, I need Denji to eat fish from the aquarium like a troglodyte. But in a comedic display of how picky and difficult to work with Asa is, she declares that she can't eat the fish because they look like dead things, and it grosses her out. And I feel for her. All throughout high school, I thought fish was yucky too. But everyone looks at her like, seriously, you can't eat our one fucking infinite food source in a life or death situation. So she embarrassedly goes out to check on the situation in the hall, where she ends up just getting into another argument with Denji. At this point, I kind of just feel bad for both of them, because they're both so pure yet awful at the same time. It's like a vicious cycle of cringe that keeps renewing itself every chapter. Asa berates Denji for stealing 1,000 yen from someone's bag, and she also yells at him for seemingly being the only person that isn't helping out right now. Which is really funny because he's probably the only person that actually is helping right now. But then Denji hits her with the cold water. What the fuck are you doing to help? Which is a huge gotcha moment for Asa, because what the fuck is she doing except for complaining? And she knows that. She tries to look for Yoru for validation, because how could a loser like Denji talk down to her like that, but Yoru's not there. Which is kind of sweet that it develops the relationship between Yoru and Asa. Asa kind of sees Yoru as a pillar of validation when she's at her cringiest. So who knows, maybe Asa likes Yoru more than she's letting on. But now Asa finally has an idea as to how she can help out. It just happens that Asa still has her dead mother's cell phone that she can use to try to get some reception and call for help. Now, I want to hold that thought right there, though. That entire time, she's had something precious from her mother that she still could have turned into a weapon. And this isn't some modern day story where having your own individual phone as a high schooler, yet alone having your parents' phone as a high schooler, is a common thing. This is the late 90s, where it was rare for adults to even have cell phones. Actually, I don't know that. I was like 3 in the late 90s. Still, cell phones were a lot rarer at the time. But it doesn't matter anyway, because Swagless Asa strikes again by tumbling over while trying to get reception and breaks her mother's phone. I think the funniest part of this entire debacle is the bewildered looks from everyone in the squad except for Yoshida, who just kind of chuckles to himself. It's like the "this is fine" dog meme. Then douchey Isayumi says to Asa, "You really disappointed me this time," which, fuck you, guy, you're not even Chainsaw Man, what do you know? And that's essentially where the chapter ends. Now, apparently, there's a leaker on 4chan who leaked the entirety of the events of this chapter as well as the next 2 or 3 chapters a few days ago. So I would exercise some caution when scrolling the internet right now because you might bump into some spoilers. I'm not sure how this leaker got this information. I personally will not be looking into it, because I'm a goody two-shoes who only supports the official release. That said, if you do go online and see these leaks, shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear about it. La, 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 la. That's about all for today's chapter review video. We're back on weekly release, so new video, a new chapter are going to be out next week. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.
Wow, 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 wow.